the Yamaha CS-15 from 1979, and it's part of the CS family of monosynths that also includes the CS-5, the CS-10 and the CS-30. So this is the mid-range model, and it's a very interesting thing because you've actually got two independent monosynths in here which can be triggered independently using the CV and gate inputs on the back. In this track, it's playing two independent notes, and they're going through two independent state variable filters, modulated by two independent ADSR envelopes. So yeah, that's two independent synths. And you could sequence both lines, but the pitch CV is hertz per volt, not volts per octave. So you need two MIDI to CV converters capable of sending hertz per volt. I've only got one, which is why I'm having to manually play the extremely complex bass line. But considering it's often overlooked and nowhere near as famous or as sought after as things like Moogs, Arps or Oberheims, it's definitely pushing things further than you might expect. And because they're not as well known as the more famous super synths, as it were, the CS-5, the CS-10 and the CS-15 in particular come in a lot cheaper than those other manufacturers, but that is all relative because there's no such thing as a cheap vintage monosynth these days. But these come in for around £900 to £1,600. Here's some on reverb, and there's a large difference in the price, but you're not going to get anything in the UK for less than £900 after you've paid VAT on any imports. There's a very optimistic £2,240 in Italy, which after delivery, VAT and import to the UK will come in at over £2,850, and that's 3 times what I paid for mine. This one cost me around £600. It was bundled in with another synth. It had an issue with the second VCA at the time. It was really distorted. It's still making some little crackles. I'm not sure whether it's the filter or the VCA, but it's got to go back and get fixed again. So this will have cost me, I suppose, between £900 and £1,000 in total. But I've sampled about 5 minutes of that crackle, and I'll throw this up for my patrons to get that perfect knackered synth quality for your plugins. So yeah, they're not exactly bargain basement. I would suggest paying a couple of £100 more to get one that's recently been serviced if you can, but they are a really interesting synth. So let's dig in. So as I say, we've got two VCOs, two VCFs, two VCAs and two envelopes. So it is two synths. If I turn VCO 2 down in this second mixer, so you've got mixer 1 goes into VCF 1, mixer 2 goes into VCF 2. So only listening to VCO 1 here. So that's a good start, sounds lovely. Let's try put it onto a triangle. So the sawtooth and the square. The PWM. We've only got a single LFO, and that's used for the PWM on both of them and for the LFO modulation on both the filters and on the VCAs, and to modulate the pitch of the VCOs. So it would be nice if I had an extra LFO or two, but let's add that to filter 1. It's always a sine on PWM, but it can be a sine, ramp or a sample and hold for the VCO, VCF and VCA. And this goes all the way up into audio rates, so you can get some really nice FM style tones from it. Adding some FM to the PWM. can get some gnarly things out of it as well. And that's essentially the basis of the top panel synth, as it were. This top panel here, VCO1, VCF1 and VCA1. On the bottom, we've got identical thing, basically, VCO2, VCF2 and VCA2, but there are slight differences. The mixer on the top one has got noise or an external input, whereas on the bottom one we've got VCO1 and VCO2, and then we've got different modulation routines, very slightly different modulation routines, in that we've got envelope generator 1 plus or negative on VCF1, and we've got envelope 2 positive or negative on VCF2. Other than that, they are identical. So taking a look at the bottom one then, this is essentially like your main 2 oscillator synth, because you've got the 2 oscillators both going through a single filter. So if we put, let's put them on about the same tuning. Let's turn oscillator 1 down, or synth 1 down, I should say. The envelope depth essentially acts as a volume, he says. And you've got an initial level here which acts as a drone. And all these are really handy to have things doing different things with the envelopes while one sound's droning or one filter's droning. You can do other things. I'll show all that in a second. But if we come back to this and we turn it up, we're using envelope generator 1 for the volume and envelope generator 2 for the VCF. So this now is 2 oscillators and 2 envelopes. Here's the crackle. I'm sure it's this knob, you know, this switch. Turn the PWM off, put it on a sawtooth. If we just listen to a single one, actually. and make some standard tones on it. So let's do like a sawtooth bass. Let's make that snappier. So you're getting that Roland style bass. I don't know how Yamaha will feel about me calling their bass or their filter Roland style. It doesn't go into self-oscillation, so it's not really a Roland style. Could be a Juno style, Alpha Juno. JX3P. JX8P, actually, there's quite a few of them that don't self-oscillate, isn't there? Put onto a square. Just showing really that it does do those sort of standard tones. If we bring in the second oscillator, let's bring that back up, turn the resonance down. Make it a bit more detuned. PWM. And now let's mix something in from the top. So let's bring that in. In fact, let's bring it in with this. Let's put sample and hold on there maybe. Stuff you can't do with a standard synth, basically. And in that you'll have heard a little additional LFO sort of ping on a filter, and that was this one up here. Just flicking that into ramp. Using the same speed as the sample and hold. I love playing with this. There's so many things you can do with it. But let's take a bit more of a look at the filters as we're playing with them already. So just a simple sawtooth from VCO1. Not losing any bass when you whack the resonance up. Whoops. Yeah, it is this switch. So that's the resonance on full, but it's got a nice tone, hasn't it? Are we playing with our envelope generator too? Let's turn that down. Try the bandpass again. I'll just leave the resonance on full. And then the high pass. You can't do that MS-20 thing where the resonance is on full and you get really punchy bass out of it. It's not that resonant, but it's nice, isn't it? Let's put this on sample and hold. Yeah, there's loads of things you can do with this. Something else you can do with two band passes. You've probably seen this before. I think Alex Ball did something like this when he did something on this a few years back. If we put a bit of resonance on both of them, have them on slightly different cutoffs, both on a band pass. Let's turn that off and let's put the modulation on envelope generator 2. And let's just add a little bit there. Really nice funky style tones. Not harsh tones, but really punch through a mix. And because we can modulate one negatively and one positively with the same envelope generator, so this is on envelope generator 2 positive, this one, let's put it onto negative, let's put a little bit of time in there, let's put them both on a low pass. Let's see what happens. One's rising while one's falling. That one's rising and the bottom one is falling. If we do that nice and slowly, let's put this on ×5, so it will actually go 5 times or 5 times slower. So you can do nice evolving tones with it as well. But I think that sort of brings me to the end of the main functions of it. Over here on the left-hand side, I've got this really nice glide function that I've not mentioned yet. You can't modulate the VCOs with the envelopes, you can't modulate the pitch. So effectively here, you've got 2 separate envelopes. If we just listen to VCO 1, so you listen to it down here on the bottom. You can have it fall into the note or rise into the note every time you hit a key. That can be quite short or quite fast. That's on top of your portamento. But when I first started researching this to do some stuff for this video, I was looking at who used the CS-15, and the Human League used it on the Dare album. And the first track on that is These Are the Things That Dreams Are Made Of. And if you listen to the middle eight, it's definitely the CS-15 doing that line. They use this on both of the oscillators. And do something like that with the portamento at the end. A couple of other performance features I've not mentioned yet. We have seen the portamento in action in the Human League demo, but we've got this brilliance slider here, and this is for the filters. You can have it as filter 1 and 2, or 2. So if it's on just 1, you guessed it, it's just modulating filter 1. You have it on 1 and 2. Or just 2. But it's actually really handy if you want to modulate them both at the same time, because obviously you can't use 2 hands. And then finally the pitch bend. We've got 3 settings. We've got a tone, a minor third, which is from there to there, 3 semitones, and then an octave. Well, I think it showed everything I'd planned to show. The only thing I haven't shown is the external input. There has an external input up here, and I did do, well, this is like the 3rd time I've recorded this because the cameras keep on going out of focus. No idea why. I had a little demo where I was playing the 606 through this, so here's a little minor clip of that, very short clip of that out of focus. I hope you don't mind. I'm not sure you gained anything else by seeing that, but it is there and it does do it. Anyway, yeah, that definitely brings me to the end. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it was of some use to somebody somewhere. If it was, do all those things, subscribe, ring the bell, join me over on Patreon. If you are a patron, you will get access to the crackles from this, which could be fun. They sound great actually with a load of reverb on them for some reason, but they do make every VST sound like it's broken, so you do get that sort of vintage synth effect. Anyway, thanks for staying to the very end, and I will see you next time.